Hi YouTube, welcome back to Fiction Mashup. Today is pretty much just gonna be like a rant video as we promised. So, and mind you, we do all sorts of things: rants, reactions, topics, comics, anime, pretty much anything that has to do with fiction. You can say hello, Xavier.
What's up, guys?
He's the guy who has the gaming corner. That's his channel. Go subscribe to that channel. I'll link that actually. Yeah, we'll link that into the description, comments, and all that stuff. He's doing pretty well. Same with this channel. Thanks for all the support again, guys. It's really been great. But yeah. And before we start ranting, we will make that analysis video soon. With my friend Cheeto. He's just been kind of sick for the past few weeks, but he'll eventually recover, and then we'll get that analysis video out. But today, what we are ranting about is basically just stuff about like silly stuff about comics, like the inconsistency of comic books, like Marvel and DC. Same thing with anime. So, so yeah. You want to start or I start?
You can go ahead and start.
So yeah, pretty much like and this is not really scripted, so we can just pretty much say, because it's a rant video, so you say what you want. But the problem I have with comics a lot of the time is like, especially when like power scaling, it gets really difficult. I'm gonna give a perfect example. So let's start with Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man alone is just, oh my god, he's a mess of a character. Like not a mess of a character, but more as in like power scaling wise. Because, for example, it's common knowledge that the Peter Parker, right, 616, the normal Spider-Man, he's not bulletproof. We all know that. If you shoot him with the pistol, or if a bullet ever goes through him, it could possibly kill him, it could injure him, right? But yet, this same Spider-Man that's not bulletproof can take attacks from like cosmic level beings. Like he's taking attacks from Galactus. He's taking attacks from Galactus's heralds. He's even gone like toe to toe with he literally had like the symbiote suit at one point, and was literally like giving Firelord a fight. Firelord is literally one of Galactus' heralds. He even like went toe to toe with Silver Surfer at one point. And mind you, this is not a Spider-Man that's amped. Like this is just normal Spider-Man. The same dude who can't take bullets, but at the same time can fight cosmic level beings. He can survive cosmic level attacks that can literally attacks that could like possibly destroy a universe or like galaxies and stuff. He could just survive that. But a bullet, oh yeah, that'll kill him. It makes no sense. That's why it's like like the thing is, making Spider-Man bulletproof would definitely be lame, but it's like they don't want to make him bulletproof, but they'll allow him surviving shit, stuff that like Galactus doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can take attacks or blasts from like beings that literally could erase me with a single thought. Oh, but if you shoot me with a bullet, I'm dead. How does that make any sense? Oh yeah, we can't make him bulletproof because that'd be lame, but we can have him take attacks that are infinitely times stronger than just a bullet. How does that make any sense?
That's what I'm saying. It's so silly. And you have a lot of people like using him in shorts and stuff, and I do agree. Like again, I think the only time it makes sense for Spider-Man to be bulletproof if it's like Cosmic Spider-Man. Beyonder Spider-Man, or there was that version of Spider-Man where like I believe it was like a Ghost Rider version of Spider-Man, like where he was
Cosmic Spider. I think it was Ghost Spider. It was Ghost Spider. That was it.
Ghost Spider, yeah. That stuff makes sense. But for base Spider-Man, it's just weird. Another character, for example, is Thor doesn't really have that many moments, like inconsistent moments, as far as I know. I do know there is one moment though. This was during, I believe, like the Null comic, like the King of Symbiotes, that dude. It was when Thor became like a herald of Galactus. And oh my god, I remember a rock literally fell on the back of his head, and it literally like damaged him. Like he got stunned or like staggered. It literally makes no sense. It's just stuff like that.
Wait.
Yes, that actually happened. I will literally show the picture on the screen right now. I kid you not. That actually happened.
This is what I'm talking about. It's like when Later on, there's a section talking about inconsistent power scaling, and that's due to like just having so many different writers for each different story. That's a recipe for disaster because no one wants to bother to go back and conversate. Like, hey, I want to do your ideas. What is your idea about this last story? Okay, I'm going to take that, but then build on top of it in the next story. They just say, hey, you did what you want to do. I'm going to do completely what I want to do for the next story. I don't care if it messes up your ideas. I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, why? There's no communication. Marvel and DC, more specifically DC, is known for doing that.
I don't know why, personally. Like, another bad example is or not bad example, but perfect example is Batman. Like, we already know. Yeah, exactly. We already know the stupid things he survived. Like, he fell from Earth. That was one of the recent comics. He literally fell down to the Earth and survived. Mind you, he didn't have any amps. He didn't have any armor on. He didn't have any. No, he literally survived because he made the calculations. It was the dumbest thing ever.
Okay. I just want to take over. It's like, as a Batman fan, seeing him do some stuff, doing shit that he really shouldn't be doing is dumb. He's not superhuman. He's a normal human. For example, in the cartoon, like Justice League Unlimited, him being able to dodge Darkseid's Omega beams. Darkseid's Omega beams.
Literally, Superman has trouble dodging that, but we have Batman over here being able to do it. Like, here's the thing. I am aware that Batman... Okay, here's the thing. He technically is superhuman. He is technically superhuman, but it's not like Luke Cage levels of superhuman or, like stuff like that. Like, he's more like... Let me give an example. So when it comes to Marvel and DC, Punisher is a perfect example. Punisher, basically, he's literally a normal human, but what he did is that he worked out like crazy to the point where he's able to do superhuman stuff. He can go like somewhat toe-to-toe with Captain America. So obviously they've been implying for years that in DC Marvel, like, humans are definitely stronger than actual in real life humans. Like for example, if I did that, if I worked out and I'm in the best shape of my life, I still, that doesn't mean I could just go in the ring and fight freaking, like the best boxer in the world. But in comics, that's just how it is. Like, Punisher was, it was a soldier. He trained a lot, did all sorts of exercises. And yeah, now he can freaking hurt Captain America with his punches, like fight him. Same thing with Spider-Man. So, but at the end of the day, it still doesn't matter because there's still a limit to that.
There's that's the thing. There should always be a limit with certain things when you have human characters. Yes, they are superhuman, but there's a level of superhuman levels. Batman isn't Luke Cage level or Iron Fist or like anybody that actually has that's actual superhuman. He's technically just a normal human, but yet he's doing shit Superman struggled with. Like, how?
Like, again.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's like, I get the whole, he can do things normal human can't. I get that, but again, there's limits.
It's the same thing with Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man isn't bulletproof. He can survive that stuff, crazy stuff. It's the same thing with Batman. Batman is not bulletproof, but we've seen him survive punches from Superman. We've seen him, dodge things that are like the speed of light or even beyond the speed of light. Again, sometimes he literally dodges things that Superman has trouble with. So, and I know what Batman fanboys always say. They always do the whole like, well, I mean, his durability may not be that crazy, but it's his reaction speed. Like I kid you not, right? Excuse me. I've literally talked to like Batman fanboys, even heard them say like, I've heard them say stuff like, oh, his durability, he's not bullet level, but like he has like massively faster than light reaction speed or infinite reaction. It's the dumbest thing ever. Look, here's what it really is. All right, it's just the writers. At the end of the day, the writers just feel like doing that sometimes. They're like, oh, it's also like a cool factor type thing. Like, oh my god, look what Batman can do. He's human, but he did this cool thing. That's really what it is. That's literally what the writers are doing. But it still doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up with the character. That's why I love those like films or like certain like animated movies or just certain parts where it's like it's really realistic. Like Batman, you don't see Batman dodging like at most he dodges bullets. Like, okay, perfect, that's fine. But then like him dodging beams of light and then stuff, it's just so lame.
Or
Um,
I'd say one of I was going to say most favorite, but my dumbest moment of Batman, him outsmarting Darkseid.
oh yeah. Oh jeez.
Like,
Oh
I
my
get
god.
Batman is smart, but Darkseid is proven to be one of, if not the smartest being in DC. And someone like Batman not only outsmarted him, but also outplayed him. Huh?
Yeah. I know. He's one of the smartest minds in DC, and yeah, you have a human over here. And I get it. It's like, but they're clearly running the whole oh, he's Batman. They're running that whole joke way too far. Because again, like, I get it. Like, yes, what was that movie called again, where he outsmarted Darkseid?
I think it's I don't know the name of it specifically, but I think it was the one with Supergirl when they introduced Supergirl.
Yeah. We'll probably like pull up like a picture of it, of the movie. But yeah, he literally he was able to figure out like a code in during like the apocalypse, when they're on the apocalypse planet and stuff. And it was, yeah, even Darkseid was like, oh, it's encrypted code, and then Batman still figured it out. Again, you would think someone as like, and again, Darkseid, he's a super genius. He's like Tony Stark. He literally has like the most advanced technology on his planet, all this crazy stuff, and yet a human could do that. And again, I know Batman is no normal human. He's the world's greatest detective. I know all that stuff, but again, they just go too far sometimes. He did the same thing with the Spectre. Like, how is it even possible at that point? The Spectre is pretty much in a way omniscient. Even if he isn't, he's still like stupidly, he knows everything. And yet someone like a Batman, they just took the meme and just ran with that.
It's the whole I could do anything because I'm Batman. Hell, I've even encountered fans. I'm talking bottom of the barrel. I don't know anything about Batman, but seeing Batman do some cool stuff turns me into a meathead type fans. Hey, he can do this because he's Batman. Batman can literally go toe to toe with Superman with his powers and all because he's Batman. I've actually encountered that.
No, yeah. I know, it's insane, but it is what it is. But another example I wanted to bring up is like, I'll bring up Hulk, and then I'm going to bring up something important. So Hulk has also gone through these same things. Like, for example, in like the old comics from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, like, you know, those times. There's little times where Daredevil was able to like speed blitz Hulk, like mess him up, actually hurt him. Like, this is just a normal Daredevil, by the way. You know, it's like I said before with Spider-Man fighting Silver Surfer, you know, stuff like that. But here's what I will say, though. So one thing that's really disappointing, and I actually used to do this, but this was like years ago. I stopped doing this because I realized how silly and dumb it is. People will try to use like our heroes or villains' worst moments, and then try to use that for power scaling. I'll give an example. So imagine if like it's Hulk versus Doomsday, right? Or Hulk versus Superman. I don't know, whatever you want, but as long as it's Hulk. And then someone brings up the time where it's like, well, Daredevil was able to hurt Hulk, and Daredevil was not bulletproof, and someone that's not bulletproof can hurt him, so therefore Hulk is not bulletproof. You know, like stuff like that. Like, the reason why you literally can't bring that up is because people usually call it anti-feats. I don't really call it that, but what an anti-feat is basically for example, like when Goku got shot by a laser, or when like I said, Daredevil's messing up Hulk, or Batman, you know, I mean, I don't even know if that's an anti-feat at that point, but just stuff that shouldn't happen to the hero or villain, but it did, right? So you can't use that on Hulk because it's like, or any character, because at that point you're ignoring all their other feats. You're ignoring all their other amazing feats they've done. Like, it's the same thing with Superman. It's like, okay, sure, did Superman get knocked out by a normal human using a normal metal pipe? Yes, that did happen, and I will show that on the screen. But in general, we know that wouldn't happen. That's the point. So it's just silly and kind of childish when people use that stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. And coincidentally, the next topic is the inconsistent power scaling of Marvel and DC. Yeah, it's like I said before, it's due to the writers. Because there's been like a total of over 1,000 writers in the history of Marvel and DC, there's bound to be,
probably more, but I get your point.
It's like probably going to be some stupid ass moments, like, oh, Superman being allergic to Brussels sprouts, or getting hit by a lead pipe, or
exactly.
Or what? He got hit by a curling iron or something. It's like
yeah, exactly. It was literally that. It was like some cowboy dude. It was like those like things that they put on cows, like the heat iron thing, whatever. Another thing too, right? One of his weaknesses used to be like spanking, like yeah, I kid you not. And yeah, you even said Brussels sprouts. Like it's or what about like Green Lantern when like the color yellow was his weakness? It's just
Actually, it was that, but it was also wood.
Yeah, like wood. Like what? And I get this was back then. I get it. It was goofier times. But I mean, silly stuff like this still happens to this day. It's not like it's gone. It still happens.
Yes, that's my whole point. Is that when people try to do these battles or whatever, it's like you have to take. If you're going to use the stupid moments for one character, you have to do the same thing for another character. You can't ignore all the stupid moments for one character and then bring up all the stupid moments for another character. That's not fair.
Yes,
when it comes to doing battles, you have to be fair. You have to, if you take everything into account, you have to take everything, feats and anti-feats. But if you're going to ignore it, then just ignore the anti-feats and do feats alone. It's that simple.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what people do when it comes to Goku versus Superman or Hulk versus Superman or really any like controversial battle. But like the whole Goku versus Superman, people always do that because they're like, oh, well, Goku got hit by a laser, therefore Superman like solos because he could do the same thing. And then you literally bring up like all the embarrassing things. Like, it's funny how people think. Now, don't get me wrong. I do admit I don't like that moment. I'm not really a big fan of Dragon Ball Super, by the way, and I hate that moment, like where Goku gets shot by the laser. Like, I get it, his guard was off, blah blah blah, but it's still embarrassing. It was still bad. But as embarrassing and bad as that was, it's nowhere near to what we were just saying. Like, and again, I'll literally show it on screen. You know, Superman getting one of his weaknesses or being hurt by Brussels sprouts. You know, him getting spanked. You know, him getting knocked out by a kid or a dude with a freaking metal pipe or something. Like, that's infinitely more embarrassing.
Yes, and to also add, he also had random powers where he'd be able to shoot many versions of himself. And just
like this weird stuff.
That's what I'm trying to say, is that because there have been so many different writers throughout the history, there's always going to be dumb things. And you probably say, well, it doesn't have, that was back then. No, they still do goofy shit now. Like, it hasn't changed. It may not be on the degree of goofiness from like the 40s and 50s, but it's still goofy anyway. Like what is it?
Well, no, another thing too. Another thing that I think is really silly is, I believe this was in the Injustice comics. Yes, it was. Basically, Batman was trying to like eat the super pill that made him like really strong to like fight Superman. And Superman came in and like he was like beating up Superman, and then he like broke his back like Bane did. And then Alfred takes the pill, and he just destroys Superman. Like, and he does it so easily and casually. And it's like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, yes, am I aware that Alfred can fight? Yes, he can fight. But like, why do you think a lot of people always say that if there's someone that has Superman's powers, or at least close to him, but they can fight, Superman's screwed? It's literally just that simple.
Bro, that's how it's always been since Superman debuted. Whenever there's someone relative, equal, or stronger and knows how to fight, Superman gets his ass kicked by everybody. Batman's done it. Wonder Woman's done it. Martian Manhunter's done it. Darkseid, anybody who can fight can literally whoop his ass. And there's no excuse. You want to know why? Because I'm guaranteed, I'm for sure, Superman's been trained by Batman, Wonder Woman, like all these other martial artists that exist within DC. They taught him how to fight, yet he doesn't do it. Superman would be more of a threat had he known how to fight, but all he does is throw haymakers and relies on his powers. What if you lose his powers and he's stuck in the fight? Oh wait,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
actually happened when Superman fought Muhammad Ali in the older comics. Muhammad Ali whooped his ass.
That's what I'm saying.
And yet, it's been how many years since Superman's debuted, and they haven't fixed that about him at all?
No, it's actually embarrassing. But yeah, I think you guys get the gist of it, and we could literally go on for hours and hours talking about all sorts of heroes and villains that have this sort of inconsistency. But again, it has to do with the fact that there are so many writers. I still don't think that's an excuse, though. Like, I know people always say there's different writers, so there's bound to be some inconsistencies. Yes, I do agree that there is bound to be lots of inconsistencies, but I mean, it doesn't have to be that much because, the writers can simply say, hey, can you write it like this, or can you not do this silly stuff? It's whatever, But
right. And now moving on to anime versus comics. Now, when they come, ever since, anime and comics have been a thing, there's always been, this character from this anime versus this character in comic books. It's like, now, you can make the argument that, and this is true, some anime characters be some comic characters be anime characters, and vice versa. But the way they've been going about it in more recent years has been very toxic, and it's proved that a lot of people are a bit like illiterate on certain things.
So yeah, let me explain. So first of all, before we get into that, which we're going to get to that right now, pretty much, I just want to explain something real quick. Anime also suffers from the same problem too when it comes to inconsistencies. Not as much as Marvel DC. I mean, they've literally been existed since the 30s, and I can't even explain how many inconsistencies they've done. But again, I'm not. Also, this is not me saying Marvel DC. Like, I'm not saying all their comics are inconsistent. They have a lot of consistent moments too. But anime also suffers from this too. Pretty much everything does, and that's it is what it is. But yeah, but when it does come to anime versus comics, it's always toxic no matter what. I mean, hell, like even anime versus anime, like Luffy versus Goku, the Devilman
versus Goku,
Eren, Naruto versus even that's toxic. And then you have like anime versus comic books. So, so what I will say is that, you've seen a lot of people say like, oh, Superman, he negs all of anime, he destroys all of anime. This character from Marvel destroys all of anime, right? So here's the thing. I'll say this. I will say that most of anime is not that strong. Like there's only a handful of animes that are really powerful, but most of anime they're just not that strong, and that's fine. That's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. And when it comes to Marvel and DC, most of Marvel and DC is like really strong, powerful. So I do agree that Marvel or DC would wipe out most of anime, but not all. Not all though. Obviously you have Dragon Ball. You have
Bleach.
You have Bleach. You have all sorts of other powerful animes. But my point is, yeah, it is pretty cringe when I see like people saying like Superman just one shot all of anime. And and mind you, another thing that's like really annoying too is like the this has to do with literally what we're talking about. It's those cringe battle shorts we've been seeing. I think they started like somewhere in like 2020 or 2021.
Pretty much, like when the whole that 20 pretty much still literally 2020s is that's when it's all started, and I've seen my fair share of really dumbass battles because people tend to either use characters no one even heard of versus another character no one's heard of, or what I constantly will see, this irrelevant character from this irrelevant anime no one knows about versus Goku. I'm like, why is it? To some, not everyone in the community is like this, but look at this mass majority that does this. Oh, I'm going to use Goku in my versus battle because, well, he's the most relevant, and yeah, I'm just going to use him. It's like, why? There's so many characters you can use.
The thing is, like, I mean, there's definitely like other shorts that use different characters, but yes, I do use Goku a lot, and it is very true. Like, you always see like, this character from this anime that no one has heard of. It's like this. And mind you, you notice that it's always like a lolly type character or a character that looks like a lolly, or this girl character, and like like the whole featherine stuff. Like, it's stuff like that where it's like, this character versus Goku. And it's like, and like I've seen lots of people say like, who is this character? Like, why are they comparing it to Goku? That's
Exactly.
also it's another problem with the anime community. It's just cringe. At least compare actual anime characters that we know. I've seen that too, but it's just. But my point is, yeah, like I said before, Goku versus Superman. That's also like anime versus comics. That people will be debating that, arguing with that forever, just like a lot of battles.
Yeah, but it's just I just hate when because it used to not be like that. I remember in my time when we talked about comic books and anime and all this other stuff. It's like we did it in a way where it wasn't toxic. We talked about, oh, this character could be this character because it's like, but we use like all this calculations and all this like extra stuff. And nowadays it's like, hey, remember that time when Hulk did this against this villain? Oh yeah, man, that was so cool. Hulk's awesome. Now it's like, according to my calculations, given the speed and velocity of the planet's alignment and all this other stuff, Hulk used 2,034 tons of newtons of force in order to blow up this planet. Like,
it's like some death battle stuff. Like,
yes,
literally.
It's like I hate when Death Battle do it, and I hate when all these other people do it. It's like, bro, just get your facts straight.
Yeah,
just
it's cringe. Like the thing is. Yeah.
Just go off of feet. Just literally go off of feats. And whoever's feats is better, that's who wins. There you go. Problem solved.
The thing is, you don't even need I do agree that sometimes calculations will be useful, but when it comes to like people destroying planets, galaxies, universes, what are you calculating? Like, we know that they can destroy the universe. That's it. We don't need to know more. Like, obviously, you want to know if it's like infinite or finite, but when it comes to like calculations, it just becomes irrelevant at that point. Like, in my opinion, I think calculations should stop when it comes to like planet level type attacks, like or planet level destructive planet level feats, like stuff like that.
Right.
And the whole debating thing, that stuff has become horrible.
That's something we'll get into. Like, that's the very last part. But staying on the topic of anime. Growing up, this talk about watching anime in general. Growing up, the only animes I knew of were like Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade. I guess you want to count Sonic X, maybe Naruto, like One Piece, Bleach. That was like to me the golden age of anime. Now, as time went on, anime got weirder, more cringe, and just all around stupid. Like, these animes with all these long titles, it's like, for example, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an anime called, Hey, I'm a Normal Ass Guy. I was walking down the street one day with a toast in my hand. Then I was suddenly struck by lightning, but also ran over by a truck at the same time. I was transported to this world where this big-breasted anime girl says I'm the hero, and I have to save the world from this evil impending doom, but also I'm weak at the same time, but yet I'm strong at the same time, and nothing ever makes sense anymore. And yeah, that's the day. That's the title of the anime. I'm like, what? How is the whole description the name of the anime? How?
They just ran out of names, apparently. I don't understand.
And the typical trope, hey, like I said, I'm a normal guy. My life is shit. Oh, hey, I get teleported to this fantasy world where I'm literally a hero, and the main character, the female main character, is in love with me, and she has massive tits because every anime girl has to have massive tits.
Right.
It's just, it's all the same. It's repetitive, and then when you bring up, the moment you see an anime character, a modern day anime character, do a feat, all of a sudden, oh yeah, this character could be Goku. I'm like,
let me get on that actually. Oh my god, like. I want to bring something up too, because speaking of anime, and I've said this before, not in videos, but just in general, like when I'm not on YouTube and stuff. I've heard lots of people say this, and I love when I hear it because it's so true. It's completely fine if, other anime characters do feats. People like Ano, Surimaru, like those characters, like, Shinra, like. Same thing with DC Marvel. It's perfectly fine if they have statements, if they have feats, right? And people will just take it at face value, believe it, right? Okay, cool. But when it happens in Dragon Ball, nope, doesn't matter. Like, Goku, Superman destroys the universe. Oh, that's fine. Goku does the same thing. Nope, it's not fine. He never did it. That you're wanking, this and that. It's actually embarrassing, like genuinely embarrassing and just sad. because it's clearly a hate bias. That's all it is. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, and it's like I don't mean to like part my French, but that's bullshit. Because how is it that this your favorite character, people's favorite character, can do these cosmic level feats, universal, multiversal? Oh, but if a Dragon Ball character can do that same thing,
no, man, no, it's not true.
No. It's like, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. I'm Stevie Wonder. Your character can do no, didn't happen. No, didn't happen. Like, that's bullshit. That's unfair.
It's a hate bias. It's just their bias. And that's the thing. Like, one thing I always hated is those like dudes. I find this so cringe and annoying. Oh, bro, I promise, I'm a Dragon Ball fan. I grew up with Dragon Ball, but I gotta admit, like, no, don't do that. Just no, because they always do the whole like, yeah, bro, like, I love Dragon Ball, but this character was slammed the whole verse, bro. It's like
you're not a fan at that point. It's like, why are you watching something? You grew up on something, you love this one thing, but yet at the same time, literally the split second is like, yeah, this character shits on the whole verse because I said so.
Like yeah, exactly. Like, for example, the reason why I'm talking about like the whole like fake Dragon Ball fans, because like I've literally seen YouTubers, right? They claim they're Dragon Ball fans, but then will crap all over it in like their videos or community posts. You know, you'll see people saying like, "Oh, I grew up with Dragon Ball, I love it," and then they'll post like Goku getting shot by a laser, Goku getting hurt by a rock, and then they'll actually be like, "Oh man, Goku's had so many weak moments." Like, they'll constantly make fun of like Dragon Ball, Goku, the fans. So. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, like, for example, I'm a fan, but I still do make fun of Dragon Ball sometimes. That's fine. But they do it like constantly. They have like this massive hatred towards it, but then claim to love it. It makes no sense. Yeah. But that was my whole point on that whole like the unfairness and just the hypocrisy. Like, it's okay for Superman to do feats. It's okay for Anos to do feats. It's okay for all these other characters to do feats. But when it comes to Dragon Ball, it doesn't matter apparently. But I'm glad, I'm glad most people are acknowledging how strong Dragon Ball is. I'm glad. I love that.
And it actually, what was funny is that whenever they try to downplay Dragon Ball or like try to just shit all over it, you're acknowledging that it actually, not only is it still relevant in power, but you're acknowledging that it is one of, if not the strongest verse. You kind of like, whenever people downplay anything, you're giving it, you're acknowledging it. If you really want to just hate on it, don't acknowledge it. But guess what? People are always going to acknowledge Dragon Ball, whether they're loving it or hating it. That's why. And speaking of that, this is a prime segue to go into our last topic: power scaling and debating. Oh my God! I wish this new age.
We were actually talking about that, to be honest. But
we have, but now we're actually going to like the full-on segue. But I've never been into the whole power scaling debating thing. That's more recent, like a few years, like 2 to 4 years ago. But it has to be the most toxic shit I've ever seen in my life. Whether it be on Discord, whether it be on YouTube, no one has common sense anymore. No one wants to talk. No one wants to actually have a dialect. It's just, hey, my character beats your character. No, my character beats your character. My character beats your character because I said so.
I'm gonna dock you now. Oh.
It's like, yo, people who take this whole debating shit too seriously is mind-boggling.
Y'all need therapy, like, for real. I've literally seen people like dox people because their favorite character lost in the debate. I've seen people like, you know, you have the whole like, oh, you're my son, bro. Oh, I just slammed you. Your career's done.
Do not get me started on that stupid ass shit. I hate that whole son thing. It sounds so fruity, bro. I'm sorry. Like, oh, hey, I beat you in a fictional debate. Yeah, a fictional debate. You're my son. It's like, are you okay? Do you need therapy? Who hurt you? Who honestly got hurt you?
It's literally like this 12-year-old Fortnite mentality. Like, oh my God, I just beat you in Fortnite. Like, your life's done, bro. Like, it's so hilarious.
I've encountered so many idiots like that. It's like, and I just want to clear the record. I'm not a power scaler. I'm not a debater, nor will I ever will be. But I will say, not only is it the easiest thing in the world for someone like me to do it, but I've encountered people to where, oh, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. I slammed you in the debate. I've never agreed to a debate. but I've proven that I know about fiction, whether it be different types of fictions. I've proven that I'm smart. But what they tend to do, they either ignore me, try to put me down, try to insult me, they're saying that I don't know anything, knowing damn well, hey, if you just give me a chance, I can prove I'm smart. I can prove I know knowledgeable about stuff. No, you don't know what you're talking about, bro. You're just stupid, bro. You just get on somewhere. And I've been called the hard R many times.
Oh yeah. Like, because obviously Xavier is he's black, and yeah, like Jesus, I've literally same thing. I'm not black. I'm actually like Puerto Rican, but I've even people have said that to me. Like, I'll just be debating somebody, it'll be chill, and they'll start getting mad at me because I'm proving my character beats there, and then I'll literally be called the hard R. Xavier's been called the hard R. It's it's the internet. What can you do?
It's like they have like an overload. It's like, I want to prove to you why my character beats your character. Okay, well, I have actual proof. You don't have proof. But you can't just hard R. Like, the amount of times I've had that happen to me is astounding. I'm like, so not only are you insulting me because I proved you wrong. Oh, big whoop! I proved that my character is stronger than yours. Oh, boo hoo, whatever. But then you're gonna use racial slurs at me? You're throwing slurs at me? You automatically lost. If you have to resort to either using insults or throwing slurs, you automatically lost at that point.
No, yeah, I agree.
You can't prove, because if you couldn't use your brain to actually use logic and evidence to prove me wrong, then what's the point of even having a conversation if you're just going to insult me?
Exactly. And that's the thing, like, at the end of the day, this stuff really shouldn't be toxic. It shouldn't be that dramatic. It shouldn't be that serious, but it is, unfortunately. Again, it's fiction. It's not that crazy, but it's just, we just wanted to rant about it because we've been seeing it a lot lately. I mean, I've been seeing this stuff since I'd say 20. I mean, all this crazy toxicity with fiction and debating really started in 2018, probably 17, something like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah. There's one last thing I want to add. Because I've seen different people debate using using debate terms in terms of when you're in a debate, you don't have to use that. Personally, whenever you try to use ad hominem, ad nauseum, fallacy, appeal to belief, whenever you use that stuff, you're trying to sound smart, but you're really just a dumbass trying to seem smart.
Well, yeah, a lot of people who do the whole fallacy stuff, I'm not saying you can't use those, but they a lot of people love to spam that to sound smart. A lot of them don't actually know the definition. They'll just hear another debater say it and they'll be like, oh, well, if I say this, I win. It's just some cringe stuff.
And which has happened to me plenty of times. You was there to witness. Oh, actually, it's like, this character is this tier. This character is this strong. Well, this character has been inconsistencies. Fallacy. Ad nauseum. Hypothetically speaking, if they turn to Ben Shapiro for something Ben Shapiro of fiction, that's what it is.
Yeah, seriously. But
that pretty much wraps up the video. If there's any last moments you want to say, or
there's one thing. Actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
One more thing too, going back to because we're really just pretty much ranting about anything, to be honest, but it's mainly anime and comics and stuff. One thing I want to go back to is one more thing is Goku, or at least Dragon Ball characters. So one thing that I usually rant about is people not really knowing enough about Dragon Ball and how the power scaling works in that verse. I'm going to give an example. So I've heard so many people say, sure, Goku could destroy an infinite universe, but he doesn't have infinite speed. He's still only faster than light. He's still massively fast, but he doesn't have infinite speed. Blah blah. So here's the thing. So I'll actually pull up the scan, but it's even stated. It is stated multiple times in guidebooks and stuff. But the statement right here from the Saiyan Saga, Vegeta literally saying that. Actually, I think it was around the Saiyan Saga and then the Namek Saga. My bad. But it's Vegeta stating that if his power increases, then his speed does too. So basically, when a Dragon Ball character gets stronger, not only does their strength get stronger, obviously their speed, durability, everything, pretty much. Probably the only thing I wouldn't say is IQ, pretty much, but everything else increases. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because this doesn't work the same way in other versions. For example, we have the Flash, right? The Flash is faster than Superman, but is he physically stronger than Superman? No, he's not. That's my point. So, but in Dragon Ball, yeah, let's just say there's a character, like for example, Buhan. When Buhan turned Vegito into a candy ball, right? Vegito, mind you, he turned him into a candy ball. He had no organs, no brain. He couldn't breathe. He had nothing. But guess why he was still able to function and talk? Simply because he was stronger. That's literally it. That is literally how Dragon Ball works. You can have all the hacks in the world, you can have all this stuff, but if you're just stronger than that character, it no longer matters. And we've seen that countless of times in Dragon Ball. In Marvel, DC though does not work the same way. Like, sure, Superman's physically stronger, but Flash has the speed advantage. So it's just stuff like that. Or it's like Hulk may be physically stronger, but there's also a character that can speed blitz him. So it's stuff like that, pretty much.
And to add on to that, yes, that's whenever it comes to Dragon Ball, they don't take everything into account. There are certain rules in Dragon Ball that happens, like whether it be universal law or just certain rules within a verse. You have to take that into account. But some people don't like doing that because, one, that rule automatically negates anything they have to say. So they will say, no, that's not worse, because if you put them take them outside the verse, well, it doesn't work. Well, that whole thing doesn't work. No, it still applies to them. It still applies.
Yeah.
I don't know why it wouldn't. It's like, again, Dragon Ball is the only verse that I know of that does the whole, hey, if I'm stronger, like all my other attributes get stronger as well. Not just only one thing. That's how the verse works. That's common knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that wraps up the rant video. Unless you have anything else you want to say.
I'm gonna say more stuff in like the description, comments, and stuff.
All right. Well, we'll see. Thanks for listening to our rant video.
It was a little rant video ahead.
Yeah, we got more different types of rants, whether it be about just anything we can think of. So
be sure to look out for the analysis video and like other versus battles and stuff. So yeah.
All right, you guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, peace.
Peace.